Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I bring to you Blood on My Hands. So this is a map that, actually this very match I used in one of my previous videos to give an understanding of strategy and tactics. This match actually was from a tournament match. It's actually a really old map if I'm not mistaken. And so I thought, hey, let's go over this. Maybe you can learn a thing or two. We have 3 bases against 3 bases. Great. One thing that I think is somewhat noteworthy, if we draw a line in the middle of the map, what we see is 2 bases on one side, 1 base on the other. It's kind of not exactly like that. And why is it not like that? Is because this base over here is not super convenient to reinforce the left side of the map, right? So it takes a long time to reinforce there. It's impossible, really, for it to reinforce the right side of the map. So its only real benefit is being able to reinforce the center of the map, which, if you're requiring vehicles on the right and the left, you're probably going to use this mostly for infantry and counters if you need it. You do have 2 airports on this map. So one's kind of tucked over here back behind the HQ. The other's very forward-leaning. And what this kind of means is it means that copters are good on this map. Now, not only are copters good because they're very forward and ready to get into the battle, but let's look at the map. You have very choky pathways. You have these big sea tiles. You have mountains. All these things that make it relatively difficult for vehicles to front shift. However, they do not impede air support. Therefore, air support on this map is fairly good. And it's really good because anti-air have trouble front shifting just like any other vehicle. And so it will be quite difficult to chase down that copter. Let's get into some of the theory on this map, and I'm going to credit this to Voice of Akasha because he was able to explain it in a way that my slow intellect could comprehend. There are 2 popular COs on this map. Well, one more than other. Sasha, by far, is the most popular. And why is Sasha very popular? Is because Sasha upsets the build order. Sasha, on most maps, if she's not destined to get the first vehicle, she usually can get the first vehicle due to her day-to-day power. Not only that, is that she has this advantage in tempo overall, usually getting the first copter, the first tech up, etc., etc. Sometimes just extra vehicles. So the copter is a very important thing because the first copter on this map can set the tone for your opponent. Because the copter is very deadly on this map, and because there's no way for you to, let's say if your opponent has this airport and builds a copter, there's no good way for you to threaten that with a copter of your own. Therefore, most likely your counter is going to have to be an anti-air. Now, anti-air is not a really good solution on this map. They make a battlecopter, and you make an anti-air, and then you go running up this road to go chase that copter. What is the copter going to do? It's going to go into the center. And then what? You still don't have a good counter for that copter. You might get stuck making 2 anti-air, one going over here, one going over here, and in the end, you're not building tanks. So your opponent, by doing that, has a good chance of being able to set the complete tone for the match, having you always on the back foot, reacting to your opponent instead of making threats of your own. How does that go into the opening theory? What the goal is going to be is try to delay your opponent's capture of the airport. It's near impossible if your opponent plays right to just straight up deny it, but the goal is going to be deny it for as long as possible while making sure you get your own airport and produce the first copter. So there's 2 goals. 1, make sure you get, let's say 3 goals. There's 3 goals. 1, deny your opponent's airport. 2, make sure you get your own airport. And 3, make sure your in-game economy supports you building a copter as soon as possible. So those 3 goals are kind of what my mindset is going into this match. Another thing, because I glanced over it and I'm just realizing I need to get back to it, is my CO choice is Javier. Javier is also a popular one. It's more popular against the higher tiers. And the reason why Javier is really good is because you see these choky pathways, you see these bridges, these mountains, these single lane shoal tiles. These are a gold mine for walling. And nothing is more valuable in walling than artillery. So there's going to be walls, and at some point you may have to push into those walls. And Javier has the best ability for that, in that he can pop his power, go in, break up some of the walls, but he doesn't need to break it entirely because the retaliation is going to be minimalized due to artillery just not being as effective. Okay, I hope I explained that adequately. I'll see if I can remember things as I go along. So, come join me on this adventure.
Ready? Go!
One note, you see that as player 1, I build a day 3 recon. The day 3 recon is very important for stopping this, because it's about to... This infantry is going to come over and try to get it. The only way he can secure it is by skipping this city right here. Because he didn't skip it, this is the plan. And I think, in my opinion, this is the intent of the map, because it's nothing but roads right here. They surely intend for recons to be important early game. And 2 things. 1, my opponent did not make a recon this turn, so he's not going to try to counter that, and that's kind of it's going to be difficult for him, but that tells me he's probably going to go for a tank. 2nd, he went for the in-game economy rather than go for the base, and I think that's just kind of a mistake overall. You want as many infantry as you can early on, and what this is going to somewhat do is going to slow down his capture of these properties and his infantry force applying some amount of pressure in the center. So 2 things. 1, we do see he built a tank, so we were right on that. He's going to use it on this side, which theoretically is the weak side, but we'll soon see about that. You do notice that he gave up on capturing this. Now, he could have fought for it. He would have gotten hit. But what he might have been able to do is to chase away my recon with the tank. He might have been able to do that. Instead, this guy just ran away. And I counter with the tank on this side because I'm going to need something to deal with this. And I don't feel any pressure over here right now, especially because once I get the copter online, that will be my unit to help control this area. But because of that, I was able to just dump this guy right on the airport. I'm making it really difficult for him to try to go for it. To try to get his airport. So basically this guy, he got delayed a little bit in trying to obtain a property. So his overall income, his game economy is a little bit slowed. It's Sasha. Sasha still has a little bit of an advantage right now, but we'll see how long that lasts. And with the recon, I just run away into the center. The big thing about the recon is that It's not really useful anymore over here because it's so choky. So, one, I have to run away because I don't want to just destroy it. But at the same time, maybe I can get it in the center and disrupt some form of infantry or something. And we see our opponent makes an artillery. Now, here's the thing about artillery and Javier. Artillery are not useless garbage. Now keep in mind, the efficiency of them is diminished, yes. The artillery are only really useless against Javier is when he pops his power. Because once he pops his power, they're pretty darn gone useless. So, it's not a horrible thing. It kind of sucks, though, having to build artillery into Javier. And he chases the artillery. I'm sorry. And he chases the recon. So, this is an interesting choice. He's chasing this recon. There's no threat the recon is currently posing. I think the current threat is more this tank. Because look. And this guy doesn't cover. It's a free dude. Free dudes. Going for the comm tower. I certainly do not want that being denied. It's a pain in the butt. It's kind of Javier's holding. Now, these aren't really contested comm towers. So going after this wouldn't stop it. It would just be annoying for me. But also, if he's going after it here, then that opens him up elsewhere on the map. And I now have enough money for my copter. So, I didn't mention it, but previous turn, I didn't build any vehicles. I intentionally built only infantry. And the reason for that is that I could afford a copter the next turn without skipping bases. So, although he has a tank, I have a copter as a counter. Copter is very usable. We already been over why copter good on this map. And get myself a free dude. And so my positioning here is purely because he cannot elsewhere hit this infantry and delay it. I don't care if he does hit the recon. The recon's not super useful at this point. It's already paid for itself by delaying this capture for several turns and delaying this capture. Because if you look on my side, this is the natural progression is capture the airport, move to the port. He got neither of these. That's helping me in the short term, and perhaps the long run. And so he goes for the recon, but keep in mind, that keeps him away from this. So this is still a threat here. This guy right here is not really threatening unless I go into the zone. There's no good reason to have to go in the zone, honestly. So he's not dealing with this threat yet, although he has a tank. That's going to be up in the business 1 to 2 turns, so not worried. Make sure as Javier, you get your tower. And build a tank in the center. So the only reason I really would build a tank here is to scare this guy away, because I need to start threatening him before he picks off all of my infantry. There needs to be some counter for this threat. And so he did build an anti-air. I got him to do that. And because it's coming down this pipeline, I just move over here to help deal with this threat. And because this is an empty area right here, I need a tank somewhere. I need to build a tank or another copter. To be honest, this guy's not going to get here right away. Something to scare away the tank. Pull back, make a tank. So he believes that the best course of action right here is a copter of its own. So, but here's the thing. The copter of its own is way back here. It's not as efficient. One thing I didn't bring up is that the efficiency of the airports. This rear airport is not more efficient at getting anywhere on the map than this airport. You'd rather use this airport at all times, only using this one if you need to make 2 air units at the same time, or this one for whatever reason is not feasible, i.e. it's airlocked, or it's the opponent captured it, you haven't captured yourself yet. This is just a backup air support. And a second copter. Why? Because this guy still has no shot of getting it yet. And you're going to see my overall plan for dealing with this guy, because I don't want to make anti-air. Screw anti-air. I'm going to use copters. And I've got a clever, well, at least what I think is a clever tactic in mind. Pull back the tank because there's nothing worth fighting over here. There's no reason I'd have to lose at all. It's not worth it. It's actually pretty good. There's a good reason why I'm chasing this tank over here. I'll tell it to you in a turn or two. So, we see that he's going after this. We'll see if I can't do anything about that. Boom. Why? Because one, I can, and I want to delay this as much as possible. I don't want him having copters on this front whatsoever. This is not really this is just a distraction, forcing him to deal with it in some form. Is it going to be ineffective? I'm not sure now that I'm looking at it, but in some cases I can see them going for it. This right here is what we call a Mang's infantry. I ain't getting it. This guy's gonna die. And this is my big brain thought process. I want to make sure this guy can't do anything. So let's just look at what he can threaten. He can threaten infantry in the center. That's about it. However, no matter where he goes, to the center, to the left, to the right, this guy will cover. Still without his range, so he can't hit my air units. But if he goes to any of these fronts, he will go into the range of one of my copters. Therefore, I will get the first strike on this battlecopter. I will become victorious. So that's my big brain thought process. It's also super nice that Sasha does not have her tower yet. It really sucks with Sasha because of that extra 10 defense that Javier gets from having mine. So it makes it a little bit more difficult having to fight into Javier. And I don't know why I make an anti-air. In hindsight, that doesn't seem like the best idea. But, you know, I did it. I'm going to stick with it. And more tanks on the right. And here's a move that I think is stupid. Because essentially he's taking his anti-air and he's attacking an infantry. Even if he OHKO'd this infantry, it still would not have been worth it. Anti-air only for battlecopters. In rare instances, can they be used for breaking infantry walls. If they can recoup more damage than they will receive the following turn. So the nice thing is that he's going to go after this little flip. Okay, we'll see how well that turns out for you. And he goes to stop this capture with his copter, which, no bueno, no bueno. And he's probably going to get this for sure. And you do see that he makes another anti-air, as if he accepts that this is going to get destroyed. It's not worth it, my man. It's not worth it. My copter in. Boom. Boom, destroying the artillery. Tank for a strike. Boom. Send my tank in there to stop the capture entirely. Pretty much destroy his anti-air. Make my own copter. Instead of delaying that capture, I decided it's a better idea to get rid of the anti-air. That's going to be a guaranteed flip. I don't know if that was worth it or not, but okay. Okay, so from his perspective, over here on the left flank, he only has one good tank left. So he really has to choose, does he attack this one on the road, or does he attack this one? So, two things. One, this copter is still a threat, and these guys are near useless, so they're just going to have to retreat. Copter's in the way. If he attacks this guy, there's a tank chain just ready to hammer him. He could probably should go for this one, because if the copter decides to come and join and defend off of this airport, there's this guy covering them. So, multiple threats, kind of forcing him to back away from this little choke point. And market crash. Not a bad idea, because I was approaching my power, and one of the nice things about Javier is that compared to the other COs of the tier, he stands the best chance of getting his power against Sonya. Against Sasha. Against Sasha, I'm an idiot. Okay, so Black Boat. Black Boat is a valid tactic. I think it would have occurred a little bit at a different time in the map or earlier in the match. And what the thought process here is, it is to get this guy over on one of these 3 tiles. And what that does is it shuts down reinforcement from this base. So the only units that can actually reinforce this little island have to go all the way around this mountain range and these forests, letting the opponent front switch over here and basically take control of the island. And if he can get this airport, he can start making air units from it instead. Very bad for me. And in some cases, he's got this nice little guy over here for boosty. It's a valid tactic. We'll see how well it plays. If I have time, maybe I'll throw up an instance of it being performed well. So this over here on the right works out super well, because there's going to be no way he can penetrate my wall here to get this anti-air to this copter. And I try to neutralize the anti-air best I can before going in, attacking that tank. I just want to neutralize as many of his units as possible. And this right here, I think, is a really bad move. You're Sasha, attacking a full HP tank while you're on a road, and your opponent's tank is on a city that they control. So one, is that attack very favorable? No. Basically, you're 1 point up, and the following turn, you'll be on a road. And my tank will have 8 HP because it heals 2. It's a really bad idea. It's a dead tank, essentially. And again, you throw the anti-air unprotected into the ether. Just look at this, right? This is going to be 8 next turn. Full HP, and 2 copters. There are 7 ways till Sunday I can just neutralize this. It was not a good ploy. And that right there is what we call wasted potential. You could have boosted him, could have put him on this tile or something, dropped him off or something, but you could have had an infantry get boosted to the front line. And more importantly, he could have probably helped protect this guy.
And there goes the battle.
And resigned. Alright, let's just kind of look at the right side. We already agreed that I can use the copters to take out these guys. I can use healthy tank to hit this guy. I can use the healthy tank on this tile to hit this guy. And then I could probably use this guy to either healthy tank or this. I'm not calculating in my mind, but I could destroy all of his vehicles the very next turn. So on this side, I have the edge. In the center, do I have the edge? Well, I have more vehicles overall. I don't necessarily have a good counter for the anti-air, but I suppose I could pick off some. Oh, I could hit him with that. It wouldn't be great. Finish off the tank, hit him with the anti-air, I guess, pick off the infantry, and just have the pure numbers game in the center. So sure, let's say I have the edge in the center. On the left, I could pick off this, I could pick off this, pick off these two super easy, and then have the vehicle count, the overall count in the left. Not only that, I could definitely start using this guy to start capping this, and he'd be kind of screwed. So all over the map, I have the edge. Yeah, the resign is well warranted. So I hope you guys got a good understanding of the opening theory on this map and why it's important. I think my match was actually a really good example of why it's important. And feel free to let me know if you have any recommendations on things you want to see. I'm still working on my Advanced Wars study course, so prepare to see some more of that in the near future. And as always, thanks for watching.
You're shaping your destiny on the edge of the night.